This is number 3 in our series, and this is a very freewheeling painting. It goes back to letting the watercolor do the work for you. This is going to be a fun exercise as well too. It's the kind of a painting which you really don't know where it's going to go. You sort of put the colors down, you follow the colors, let it lead you, and I'll be showing you a photograph that resembles this but isn't this, to kind of have a guide in there. But here is just going to be have fun, take a chance, and this will be largely built up on washes and some accessory tool work in there. Here again, you're going to have fun. Okay, to approach this painting, we're going to use the traditional tools that we do see more often in watercolor, the flat brushes, large flat, middle-sized flat brush, some round brushes. I'll explain the use of the brushes and why we're picking them. Very important to have the rigor. And then we have the palette, the porcelain trilet palette with the paints out there in no organized order. Just the mixtures. That's very adventurous when I use my palette. I don't try to organize anything. I just try to remember where the colors were. And this particular paint is going to be a freewheeling painting, so I don't want to be organized there. I do have some pigments that are protected in this little small palette, but pocket knife, cut up pieces of credit card, a triangle, a plastic triangle would be used here, the cardboard cutouts that we have, and I think that's all for the materials that we need. Now let's talk about the painting. Where do the ideas come from? Ideas sometimes come from our imaginations. Sometimes our ideas come from photographs that we've taken. And I collect a lot of photographs of things in what I call my morgue file, hundreds and hundreds of things that just interest me. May never use them, but every once in a while then I'll look at them and come up with an idea. So here are 2 photographs that came out of magazines. They're not my photographs. To copy them would be wrong, but you'll see in just a minute I'm not going to copy them. I'm just going to springboard off of those. Here's a old fishing dock that was obviously in Texas. There's a Texas flag up there. And if you look at it, there is nothing in there that you can tell what it is. Everything just sort of jumbled together in a lot of verticals and horizontals. Has a nice pattern, a rhythmic pattern, and when you run your eyes across all of that, you pick up little things in there. You can see a shrimp boat over here. You can see some rigging. You can see some netting over in there too. And then here's a little shack over here. A lot of other stuff that really is just unidentified, but shape, form, and it's beautiful. I want to try to paint that feeling. I don't want to paint that picture, I want to paint that feeling. Another photograph that I pulled out of my files was this shrimp boat that is just a silhouette against the sky and the water. So if I work out my composition and I come out with a spot in there that I can stick something like this in there, I'll stick it in there. I don't have that planned at this point right now. The only thing I have planned is this. This is there if I need it. So then we come to this. This is just my interpretation of what we have there. When I look at it, I see that it's a lot of verticals and horizontals, a lot of straight edges. I like straight edges. I like verticals and horizontals. I still don't know what's there. But I like the pattern, the light and dark pattern. So here I have the light and dark pattern here and some movement in there. I'm going to paint more from looking at this than I am looking at either one of these 2 things. This is very abstract, but it feels like how I want it to feel. And I'm just going to start painting. I've got a pencil drawing in here, but those lines mean nothing to me. I was more placing it on the page. I have masked out with masking tape some strong points. Masked maybe just a little bit of the cabins on some of the boats if I get the boats in there. whether or not that ends up being that, it could end up being something else. I don't know. I'm going to have fun with this one. And I'm not going to judge whether it comes out right or wrong. When it's done, it's going to be done. And I'm going to be happy with it because I like to paint this way. I am completely open to whatever I get. Other paintings that I've demonstrated for you, I tried to work toward a certain thing. Here, I just like to have fun. When I paint, sometimes I paint extremely serious. And sometimes I do demonstration paintings which have a purpose. And then every once in a while, I just want to have fun. That's what I want to do here. I want to take chances. I want to have fun. I want to see if it happens. We sometimes call that in class the hit and pray method. We hit the paint on the surface and pray that something good happens. So maybe that's what will happen here today. To begin with, we're going to start establishing some in just a very light color. I've got some blue here that I've prepared in this little separate container. And without any pattern whatsoever, we're just going to start doing some horizontals and verticals. And then bring in some alizarin crimson to counteract all of that cool color with some warm colors. Those mixtures are very, very nice. And you'll probably notice that I have some masking tape on here. There. I am protecting some whites. And I don't know if they'll be used for what I plan on using them for, but they're there. It's just like a safety valve to have them there. The purpose of this initial wash is to establish a movement or a pattern. I do want it to move this way, and I do want it to move up and down this way too, but then I'm going to come to a place where I want to have these colors move in this direction also. Nice white, broad white in there. Now I need to stop right here and let this dry. So let's take a moment. I've got a sip of coffee to take here. Let this dry completely, and then we're going to come back with much stronger color on top of this. I got this initial wash I really like a lot. I like the abstract pattern, the way the shapes of the whites in there and how they work through, going in even to some of the positive spaces, negative and positive. Now I'm going to come back in, I'm going to paint over this, I'm going to come much darker. I'm going to get some Van Dyke brown and some Prussian blue. Raw sienna. And painting in more or less a geometric pattern here, so that I'm not just creating organic shapes as much as I am geometric shapes. That's what I want to do here. Hopefully, if this goes down as well as I feel like it can go down, I'll be able to discover what I'm looking for. Right now, I know what I want to find, but I don't know how to find it. Now we have the plastic triangle. We're going to work out some geometric shapes here by scraping. Believe it or not, this is working. It looks really confusing, but I'm liking some of these middle tones that I'm getting when I scrape around in there. Some of these are going to end up being signs, and some of them are going to end up being facades. As I look at the reference here, I don't know what that stuff is. I like the pattern, and I can see some of the same patterns emerging in here, and that's what I want to see. This is just a blocking in of that. So now I'm going to go back in through here and create a little bit more middle tone, strengthen some up in here, strengthen some in here, strengthen some down here. I'd like for the energy of the painting to move up through here, and then for the detail to be concentrated in this part of the painting. The rest of it can go fairly abstract. Still looking at the large brush and working with the purple and blue, Prussian blue, and the alizarin crimson. Mixing some of the ivory black with the Prussian blue. Fortunately, I've got them right here in my porcelain tray, and they mix so well together. I don't have to worry about the compartments, because they're right next to each other, and they invade, and that's good. It is really a lot of fun to paint this way because I have no idea where the painting's going. I can just follow it. I let it lead me. This gave me a nice dark in between these two shapes. And then those two shapes can become a facade built up of planks. And it gives me a nice pattern that can go on over into the white space over there, and then I can strengthen the bottom of that right through there. This is working out very nicely in here. Now I got a middle tone in there I want to play with, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Now this is fresh. This whole part of this painting here is extremely fresh. I want to make sure that it stays that fresh as I go across. The darks are really strong. Look at the nice light up under there that was put in the first wash. That excites me greatly. And since I know that this is a pier, we can put some pilings in there. And if they are larger as they come towards us, we get a sense of depth. Power to the people. The rigger was designed to do ship's rigging, so it works very well in here. And we're going to add another little piece of sky in here, up through, say through here, and on this end over here as well too. And they're going in geometric shapes, not interested in clouds or anything like that. I'm only interested in horizontals and verticals. So let's go ahead and do some horizontals in here. Horizontals in here. Add some piers in this part of the painting. And then we're going to go to the riskiest part of the painting. I'd like to put a pelican on there, but I'm not going to. I'd just like to. Pelicans are fun. I got a little building over here I want to put a front on. And we could see where that front put a little window on the side over there so they can look out. You have to be able to look out. That could be anything. It could be a trash can, who knows. Let's pull the mask off real quick. Be careful because I don't want to pull paper up with it. Oops, got a little bit of paper right there. We'll fix that. All right, here we go. That's a nice one. I really like that little straight white line going through there. Thrills me. It shows you how easily I'm thrilled. We've got a roof line going back through there that we want to put in. And as you know, this is dock pier, so we need some rigging. Lost my brush. There it is. Now I'd like to get some calligraphy in here, and then some real calligraphy like letter forms. That's not showing up. Don't want those to be too obvious, just a little bit. The white wasn't showing up. I really wanted to do white in there. All right, now let's get some banners, and we're going to put the finishing touches on here. All right, let's see what we got. As I mentioned before, taking the tape off is like opening a Christmas present. See how much more bright those colors are when they're against the white and not against the yellow of the tape. It tells you that your painting is either done or not done, and I'm thinking that this painting is done. I like this. This worked out to be really nice for a freewheeling composition. That's it.